podcast about something where each week we dive deep into whatever it is we find interesting. I'm your host, Kalvin, and joining me from Weasley's Wizarding Wheezes down on Diagon Alley, it's your co-host, Nick Richardson.
It's actually pronounced diagonally. Diagonally.
Well, no, that's how you end up in Nocturne Alley. Don't do diagonally.
Dude, Nocturne Alley's fucking dope. You put some respect on that name.
So look, when we went to Harry Potter World in Orlando, Nocturne Alley is way cooler than like the Hogsmeade setup. Like they got the Morgan and Burkes there. There's a lot of cool shit there. You can get Lucius Malfoy's snake walking stick with the wand in it. Ooh. Which, like, Lucius Malfoy's an asshole, but that's a badass prop.
That's a sweet pimpkin.
Yeah. I haven't gotten it yet, but maybe next time we go.
Sounds like I got 4 of them. One's fucking silver plated.
I got a bunch of other stuff.
Nice.
Spent my money elsewhere. I got a sweet Horcrux ring. Got a wand. All that good stuff.
I got these sweet wizard drugs.
No, I didn't get wizard. I can't do, like, I don't dress up. I'm sorry. Like, to the people who do, that's fine. Do it. I can't do it. First of all, it's fucking hot, and I'm not wearing these big-ass robes around everywhere.
Oh.
Second of all, like, I just want to wear a t-shirt and shorts. I don't want to wear anything else, ever.
Well, you are in Florida.
Yeah.
Dressing up can be fun, just not in Florida.
I don't even like Halloween. I don't dress up. It's just not my thing.
That's all right.
So, today, we're not talking about everything I bought at Harry Potter World. We are actually talking about, well, we're giving out Harry Potter movie superlatives.
Finally.
So what this is, yes, it's been 3 years. It's finally time to do Harry Potter. Once a month, we set out to give some made-up awards to movies that fall into some specific category. And this month, it's Harry Potter and the overall wizarding world. So we've got 10 movies to choose from there. What we do is we give out the best and worst versions of 5 different awards as our own kind of personal Dundies here.
It's a Dundee!
Yeah, we should have come up with like a name for these trophies.
I mean, everybody gets one. It's all participation based, bitches.
That's true. Just make a movie that falls in one of these categories, and you get a somethingy.
What would our trophy be?
A something.
Just a pile of, like, random bits of action figures.
Yeah.
Like, all in a ball.
That's pretty much it.
The fuck is this?
Melted together.
It's something.
So like I said, we've been doing this for about 3 years, since August of 2018, so there are about 33 other movie superlative episodes you can go back and listen to if you like this one. You're just going to have to search through our feed. There's one every month. See which ones you like, don't like, pick those. And what we do is we can't give out more than one award to a single movie, and we can't give multiple movies the same award. I finally figured out how to say that. I was actually typing it out for the first time today, and I think in the last 30 or so episodes, I've never said it completely or correctly, so I got it today.
More than one award. But yeah, can we not pick the same movie for worst?
No.
Just want to clarify that.
We got 10 movies to choose from.
Some of these are usually fucking booty-ass fucking movies. So.
we try not to pick the same movie for the Superlatives, as we call the worst versions of these things, but we look the other way also on giving out Superlatives. But I used all 10 movies for separate awards, so I'm better than you, apparently. We'll just go with that.
We're better than you, and we know it.
So, like I said, giving these out to Harry Potter and the Wizarding World. The Wizarding World is the world from Harry Potter, created by J.K. Rowling, first appearing in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, and it's just kind of been growing in popularity and in scope ever since, 1997?
Yeah.
If you don't know what it is, like, that's on you at this point, and I don't know why you're listening to this.
I might even call you a bit of a bum.
Yeah.
I mean,
everybody knows Harry Potter.
I remember waiting in line at the fucking bookstore to get, like, the 5th through 7th books.
I never went that far. Like, I enjoyed them.
There was a girl there, so that was very helpful.
That helps.
I was like, hey.
Because the first one I was late on, because, like, a bunch of people were reading it, and then I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. And I did, and then I read, like, the next through 5 as they came out, but I never pre-ordered. I never waited outside the store. I just waited till I could get it. Probably usually got it for my birthday, because I think they would come out in, like, July or August, and my birthday's in October, so it was like I would just wait till then. And then I didn't read the 6th and 7th until the movies were about to come out.
It's too bad.
And I'm glad I did. Well, I'm glad I read them before the movies came out. Well, maybe not. Maybe I would have liked the movies better if I didn't.
Yeah. I don't know. The books, I always read them first, and they were just really fucking good.
Yeah, they are. They're very good. We enjoy the Wizarding World here. And as for who Harry Potter is, he is the chosen one of the Wizarding World. He's the boy who lived, been prophesied to bring an end to the Dark Lord Voldemort. He starts out living with an abusive aunt and uncle until his 11th birthday, when he receives his letter from Hogwarts and the opportunity to embark on his journey into the Wizarding World by attending Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. If you need more than that, I think you're in the wrong place. That's not what we're here for. We're not here to teach you about Harry Potter today. We're here to give out some awards to the movies. So if you don't know who Harry Potter is, go read the books, then watch the movies, then come right back here.
Yeah, just come on back.
Yeah. It should only take you like a day or two to read all 7 books, watch all 10 movies, be back here.
I mean, if you're fucking cool, it will only take you a day.
At least.
Minimum.
So we have had 4 previous Harry Potter episodes. We've done a podcast about the Philosopher's Stone as a magical and real-world artifact. That was back in October of 2018. That's episode 29 with the VCR kids. We did a podcast about Horcruxes. That was in December of 2018, episode 39, again with the VCR kids. This is all before Nick came on board. So then we did a podcast about Argus Filch, which was July of 2019. Yeah, that was a lot of fun looking into Filch. And I've got some more Filch thoughts as we go through these movies today. That was episode 70, and then we did, not too long ago, a podcast about the Pensieve, again, as a magical artifact. That was in September 2020, episode 123. So if you want more Harry Potter, we've got it. It's back there. Go listen to it. Boom.
Boom.
All 8 Harry Potter movies qualify, and the 2 Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them movies qualify. That way we got to an even 10, and we could technically give out an award to each movie without repeat seeing.
Try.
Oh, I did. Don't worry.
I had some trouble because I have thoughts about a lot of these.
Oh, well, that's the whole point.
Yes.
It's supposed to be troubling. If it was easy, then we would just do fucking time travel movies again.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think you were here for time travel movies either.
I don't think
before your time.
It's before your time, idiot.
So we will be giving out, for the awards today, we're giving out Best and Worst Defense Against the Dark Arts Teacher. Every book/movie has a new Defense Against the Dark Arts Teacher because the position is cursed, and they have to have a new one every year. So they vary in ability to teach and learn.
Sanity as well.
Sanity. There we go.
There's that.
Bitchiness. Snape by far the bitchiest.
He's so good. God.
Best
Alan
and
Rickman
worst.
was a fucking treasure.
Yeah, he was. He really was. We're giving out the best and worst use of magic by wizard or witch. So that's just like single spell or thing that they did with magic that one person did throughout, all these movies that was just like, oh, that's fucking cool. That's what we want to do there. The best and worst magical artifact / magical creature. So it could be either an artifact or a creature there.
Yeah, I went ahead and I picked both, but there's some overlap in movies.
Yeah, so I was going through and through the first 3, I'm like, yeah, there's some good stuff, but we don't get to talk about the creature. I didn't include anything for the Fantastic Beasts of this world, so I was like, let me throw that in there into kind of a double category here, and we can discuss creatures and artifacts there because they kind of fall hand in hand.
They do.
The best and worst evil plan, either by Voldemort or Grindelwald in the Fantastic Beasts movies, just anybody who's out there trying to do Harry harm. Or any good people harm, I guess.
The Jacks.
And then we've got the best and worst win for Harry Potter. Now, that doesn't really include the Fantastic Beasts movie because he's not in those.
Yeah, not yet.
He'll show up by the 5th one.
Yeah. But Dumbledore's there, and he knows Harry, so
yeah, true.
There's
So everything Youngledore does is technically a win to get to Harry.
He knows the future, bro. He's fucking Youngledore. And he's so handsome.
He is. Jude Law. He could get it.
Oh, thank you.
So we're ready to give out some awards.
Dude, fuck yeah.
All right. Let's start with the best defense against the dark arts teacher. I go first here with Prisoner of Azkaban and Remus J. Lupin.
That dude. Oh.
Yeah.
This
was a pretty tough decision.
Nay, sir.
There's like 2 good ones and 5 bad ones. So the worst was actually harder here. But Lupin, he teaches students a lot, even though he's got these frequent breaks where he goes and is a werewolf from time to time. He teaches them how to defeat boggarts and dementors. Both of those things are going to come incredibly handy later in the series. He's a werewolf, but he's also a great teacher. And, you can be both things.
It's the duality of man, literally. He's just such a soft-spoken guy, too. And he helps everyone with their confidence. He's like a genuinely good teacher.
Yeah, he's exactly. And that's something that a lot of these other ones, even like somebody like Barty Crouch Jr. as Mad-Eye Moody, like he's a good teacher. He teaches them how to fight the dark arts. He teaches them how to use some of the dark arts as well.
Oh, hell
He's not there as a mentor at all, really.
No, he's there as a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Whole different story there.
Yeah, so Lupin, he helps everybody defend themselves, but he seemed to actually care for the kids and tried to keep them safe at all costs. And also, I just want to point out the scene where they're in the Whomping Willow, Sirius is finally there, Snape comes in, the chemistry between Gary Oldman, David Thewlis, I believe is how you pronounce it, and Alan Rickman is just absolutely phenomenal.
It's unreal.
They feel like, with Thewlis and Gary Oldman, they feel like they're old high school buddies, and that they have this adversarial relationship with Alan Rickman that's actually been there in the actors' lives for their whole lives. That scene, because I watch most of these movies because I've seen them before many times, so I watched them while I was working and doing other things, but when that happened, I just kind of stopped everything and was like, I gotta watch these 3 just be absolutely captivating for 5 minutes.
Well, to be fair, Gary Oldman has that chemistry with nearly everyone. I've never seen a movie that he doesn't have wicked good chemistry with everybody.
Oh, what movie did I watch the other day with him in it? My wife and I watched something.
It
was it's a Netflix movie. It's called The Woman in the Window. It's got Amy Adams, Gary Oldman, some other people. It's not good. He didn't have very good chemistry with anyone in that, but he was barely in it, and yeah, it was a very strange movie.
He had chemistry with Batman, so
that's true.
That's saying something. But yeah, I agree. That is one of the, in a good movie overall, that is probably the best series of events, that 15 minutes as it goes through. And that's the cross your T and dot your I of that 10 minutes. That didn't make any sense.
I understood you. Who did you have did you have Lupin too?
I did have Lupin as well. Mostly because I think for everything he said, he's a fantastic character, played by a fantastic actor. I almost said author. And
not an author.
Reading the books prior to the movies, it was something that it was so neat to see him basically lifted from the goddamn page and put into a movie. That's really a rare thing. And he just, he's a hinge point. He's at all points in this fucking movie in this book that really matter. Like you said, he taught him how to defeat boggarts and summon Patronuses. But I think the best thing he did was for, his little talk on the bridge with Harry when they're, I don't know, he's basically talking about his mom and dad in a good way, whereas pretty much everyone else has just been shit-talking his parents as, not the greatest of people. And
the only other recollections he has of them are from Petunia and not Dudley, Vernon, and Dumbledore gets a little bit in there, but Snape gets a lot more. So he hears a lot more shit about them than good stuff. And so it was, like you said, to have Lupin there to kind of teach Harry about how good his parents actually were, to contrast what Snape has been kind of feeding him for the last 3 years is really helpful, I think, to Harry's growth, and probably a big reason why Dumbledore brought him in anyways.
Yeah, I think it kind of set him down a path to be more of an individual, because he's always been told he's got his eyes like his mom and he looks just like his dad, and most people are telling him how much of a piece of shit they are, or they're just not the greatest of people. more so his dad than his
dad.
mom. And I think that helped, kind of shake the mold. I've seen that with someone I know where they look just like their dad and they got shit on because their dad did a bad thing or was known for a bad thing. And, hearing a couple good things about him really helped shake him out of the mold. And that was cool to see.
Yeah. They framed Lupin very well in the Prisoner of Azkaban movie. The only thing I didn't like is when they're doing the boggart, when he steps in front of Harry because he thought Harry was going to see Voldemort, it did too good of a job of like showing that it's the moon, and I guess they didn't really give too many hints that he's a werewolf and all of that, so they had to be a little more heavy-handed. But in the book, it's more Ron thinks it's a crystal ball that he's afraid of, and that was right when they started divination also, so their crystal balls are kind of heavy in their head. But like in the movie, it's very much a moon with clouds around it, and you're like, oh, okay, there's something going on with this guy right away. Whereas in the book, you really don't get that. It gets laid out much more slowly, I think, which is better in a book, but maybe you can't do that in the movie.
It was a lot more ambiguous. Like, it just wasn't so defined, if that makes sense. It was,
in the movie, it's just like, boom, this guy's a
here's
werewolf. We're going to tell you.
Full moon. Yeah, super bright.
In the very next scene, Snape's going to be in here talking about, we're going to skip all your lessons, go right to werewolves.
394.
So the last note I have on Prisoner of Azkaban, and I got to say it here because I don't know where else I'm going to talk about it, because this is our Prisoner of Azkaban discussion. At least in the movie, I don't remember the book well enough because I haven't read it in a few years. Filch is asked to search all of the paintings in Hogwarts to find the fat lady when Sirius Black scared her off. So again, don't remember if that actually happened in the books or if that's just something in the movie, but this kind of further lends credence to the theory that we discussed back in our Argus Filch episode, that Filch is kept around Hogwarts because he, at the very least, understands how magical paintings work and can repair them. Like, why just ask Filch to go search? Why aren't all the teachers going out there to search? Why is it just Filch? Because I know he's the castle bitch, but like, other people can help look.
Nah, they're like, Sirius Black's here. Fuck the Filch, get him. Get out there. We don't care if you fucking get sliced, you bitch. But I think, he has that, he knows where everybody's at, and that was just not a great one. Oh, she's right there. Like, oh, fucking how nifty. She's just conspicuously quiet this whole time.
Yeah, and they completely excluded, like, the night painting guy that takes over for him and is just a complete doofus, which I always thought that was really fun in the book. But, whatever. That's fine. I'm not too worried that he didn't make the cut, really.
I gotta say, Prisoner of Azkaban was one of the best iterations of the Harry Potter universe on film, I think. Like, it did really well moving the story along with, like, a bunch of just magical shit. The stairs moving all the time, and I don't know. It was just cool.
I might disagree, but we're going to have that conversation later.
Bitch! You don't ever disagree with me.
Let's move to the worst offense against the dark arts teacher. Again, I go first here. Chamber of Secrets, Gilderoy Lockhart.
Gilderoy Lockhart.
Thank you. Kenneth Branagh is fantastic as
He's
Lockhart.
So good. I hate him
but
so
Lockhart
much.
is such a fucking tool in this movie.
He's a boob.
Like the smallest bit of danger, he freaks out and runs away. And I just think you need more out of someone that you entrust to teach kids literally how to defend themselves against the dark arts. And when he's not running away from danger, he's actively putting the entire school in danger with every single decision he makes. So
he's so dumb.
Fuck Gilderoy Lockhart.
Do I know you? I fucking he is so good.
Yeah, Kenneth Branagh is great. But it's not about the actor. It's about the character. And Lockhart sucks. He is not a good teacher. He is not a good person. He is not a good wizard, except with memory charms. So fuck him.
He literally... he's a fraud. He's like, I mean, he's a grifter. He's got tiny 100%. Fucking hands, and I think he might have a comb over.
Yeah, I mean, the parallels are endless, I think.
His hair is shit. But anyway, I hate that stuck up fucking bullshit, how he's like making Harry sign his fan mail and stuff. Like, isn't this great? It's like, no, it fucking sucks, asshole.
Did you have somebody else for worst defense against the dark arts teacher?
I did. I originally had Gilderoy Lockhart, because of literally everything you said. But I decided to go with Dolores Umbridge.
Yeah. That's the obvious pick here, right?
She must not tell lies.
No, she sucks.
I wonder I wish someone would have like bewitched her, that she couldn't lie, or she had that fucking pen and was just like, "Are you a C word?" And it's just like scratches in her hand, like, "Oh, son of a bitch."
Or like Hermione pulls so that's the one in the book when they all do Dumbledore's army. Whoever squeals on them, she like makes pimples break out in their head that say Squealer or Towler or something, right? Hermione should have done some shit like that to Umbridge. I mean, I guess getting raped by centaurs is kind of the same, but whatever.
Poor thing.
Yeah, she sucks.
That's dark, man. That is fucking dark. I can't believe she put that in that fucking book.
I mean, she's carried off by centaurs, and centaurs are, I guess, mythologically known for
like raping the shit out of people.
Yeah, raping the shit out of people. So yeah, you put 2 and 2 together, you get 4 there.
Well, I'm pretty sure she like heavily implied that she got shagged by
She was definitely shaken up when we see her again in Deathly Hallows.
It takes a lot to shake up that old bag.
And she's bad, but I don't think she's a terrible teacher. She's a bad person. But she takes them through the book. She doesn't do any practical testing, which, that's one thing I think Defense Against the Dark Arts you actually need. But it's all book learning. She actually prepares them for the test. She's not the worst teacher, She's the worst person ever. But as far as a teacher goes, she's getting them through the material. That's why I couldn't pick her over Lockhart, who is not getting them through the material and making them learn less and putting them in danger.
I know you've killed several people, but god damn it, I aced this test.
Exactly.
And that's thanks to you, Prof.
They got good grades on their OWLs. That's all that matters.
I always thought that was a great acronym.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh.
All right, so let's move to the best use of magic by witch or wizard. You go first here.
This one I had a little tougher time going with, and then it hit me like a freight train because it was the only moment I thought, that's actually solid, was in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, when Newt releases his Thunderbird and disperses a potion as rainfall over the city. Hear me out, though. Corny as fuck, but it makes sense. It makes sense.
Make sense.
Dude, that is so... that's...
How do you control it? How do you control what people are forgetting?
Hey, now.
And how long does the rain last?
You're asking too many questions. What if people are inside?
Exactly.
What I just looked at it and I was like, that's at least a really solid way of getting mass, I forget what the spell is called. Obliviate. Yeah. Jace. Basically to just erase a bunch of people's minds and totally fucking nuke their brains. I think it's a solid way. So
but the Obliviate spell is much more precise. You have to, you're searching for specific memories, or you're doing it at a specific time where they forget a specific thing. And this is just we're just going to rain on you for a week, and whatever you remember, you remember. Whatever you forget, not our problem.
You can forget all of it, but you can't go to every person and just obliviate them in fucking London. There's a shitload of people there.
It was in New York, but I agree with you there. I don't know. I don't know that there's a better way to do it.
I think it's the most cost effective.
Well, definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
You guys just forget the last week. Nothing happened. Don't worry about that.
Are you just going to walk into a movie theater like, hey, everyone, up here, look at me?
Yeah, where's the Men in Black neuralizer? At least there they got to give them new memories. This is just you guys are just going to forget for an indeterminate amount of time.
Man, that'd be super weird.
Well, and then every person work. I'm going to go on my Kowalski rant right now because I don't have a good place for it. How the fuck does that work? Because he comes back in the next movie and now he remembers things because apparently Newt told him that he only forgets the bad things and he didn't have any bad memories. But that's bullshit because Newt didn't tell him that. I went back and triple checked that Newt ever says anything like that you only forget the bad things. Doesn't happen. And then all of a sudden he's just like, oh no, I'm here and I didn't forget anything because I didn't think anything was bad. And so why can't that be applied to literally everyone else in New York City? You don't think anybody else didn't think what was going on was bad? They just thought it was cool as shit? So now those people didn't forget anything?
Dog, that's why I have
problems is they all of a sudden they broke their rules in the first 20 minutes of the next movie that they set in the last 5 minutes of the previous movie.
That movie was literally written for controversy, I think. There's so much stupid bullshit.
That's the stupidest of the stupidest in my mind, because they had so many other avenues to go with Kowalski. They could have, they know he's going to be in more movies, so just don't obliviate him at all, right?
Let's have him be the one guy inside.
Yeah,
and it's New York, dude. Everybody's miserable.
Well, he was inside during the battle and everything, and they made him walk outside at the end, and it's just like, don't make him do it. Queenie is a skilled Agilomans. She could have like fed him back his memories or some bullshit. They could have made it up. Like, there's a million things you can make up with magic that don't break the rules that you just set, that he's walking out in the rain literally to forget, and instead you're just like, nah, fuck that. We didn't say that.
Get that fatty out there.
I got big problems with specifically that scening. I like a lot of things in Crimes of Grindelwald, not that.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't like that movie, but I'll talk more about why I like it when we actually get to that movie. But this fit here because you said that was a good use of magic, and I strongly disagree.
I fucking strongly disagree, bro.
But I also don't have a better answer of how you wipe the minds of a whole fucking city.
There you go. So that's what I'm saying. That's like the most logical use of magic.
It's a smart use of magic. I'll say that. Yeah.
There you go. Best. I mean,
if the world exists where this Thunderbird can make it rain and make everybody forget, then yeah, why not use it?
Well, I mean, you got to make people forget somehow, and it's 1920. Everybody's going outside in the rain. Half the people are like, "Fuck, I haven't showered in 6 days. Thank God." Yeah, and then they forget everything after the fact.
This rain smells like Arizona. What's going on here?
Fuck yeah, this is dope. It smells dry and not damp and fucking moist.
So I went a different route here, and I need you to stick with me.
No. I
went Half-Blood Prince, the protections in the cave around the Horcrux. It's super evil, all right? Super evil. I'm gonna put that on Front Street, but it's also super effective and super powerful. You got to give a blood sacrifice to get in. Then you got to find the invisible boat, get across the Lake of Inferi, and then you've got to drink that thirst memory potion where it makes you thirsty and you're seeing your worst memories at the same time just to get to the locket that's not actually there. Like, Voldemort did his fucking work on this thing. And not to mention the cave is out in the middle of fucking nowhere.
That is one of the cooler scenes in the entire series.
Yeah.
Very well done.
And you also have in that same scene Dumbledore using his fire to like defeat all the Inferi, which is really badass looking.
Yeah, I mean, they talk about how badass he is, and outside of his like duel with Voldemort,
in Order of the Phoenix, yeah,
you really don't see a whole shitload of badass Dumbledore moments.
No, and so the duel with Dumbledore or with Voldemort was a close runner up here. I had to use Order of Phoenix for something else, but that was pretty close to the top of my list because that was just both of them flexing all of their abilities. So it was that whole duel that would have made it, and that was really cool to watch.
Yeah, I remember watching that in theaters. It was just like, whoa, this is dope.
Yeah. And then I do have an honorable mention here, and it's actually for best non-use of magic, and it's when Hermione punches Malfoy in the face during Prisoner of Azkaban because he's an asshole.
That is pretty great. Yeah. She got a sick right hook.
Shout out Hermione.
She could punch me in the face any day. Later in the series. She's a little young there.
All right, so what's your worst use of magic by a witch or wizard?
Okay, I can tell you. This one makes me mad every time I even think about it. And that's all the time and effort Arthur Weasley put into bewitching a fucking car. What the fuck, dude?
I had that high on my list for the worst magical artifacts, the flying Ford Anglier.
I wouldn't even call that. I call it a flying piece of shit. It is a beater, and it's so conspicuous. Like, oh my god, man!
It's got an invisibility drive.
That barely fucking works. It's whack. So it's a dumb use of magic when you can literally fly on a broom.
It's whack 40.
Yeah, it's whack chamber of secrets.
Yeah.
The whack secrets, whack chamber. Anyways.
Chamber of whack secrets, I think. Let's go.
The chamber of whackness and secrets. Of secret whack.
Whackrits.
There we go.
Chamber of whackrits.
J.K. Rowling, I think you need to hear what we're saying. Idiot. But anyway, dude, what the fuck, man? Like, come on now. You can disapparate, apparate. You can do I'm sure there's like 50 other things you could do to get from point A to point B, but instead you have a whack-ass car that sucks.
Well, I don't think it was ever actually to get from point A to point B. He was just a tinkerer. He just liked Muggle technology so much, so he just started fucking around with it and tried to make it fly. And look, it works to get them to Harry's house to break him out. It just doesn't work to get them all the way to Hogwarts. But I agree, it's stupid and shitty.
Yeah, it's dumb. Then he gets destroyed. Was it like a sentient car, basically?
Well, yeah, because it gets destroyed by the Whomping Willow, and then it later attacks them when they walk into the Forbidden Forest.
Yeah, it drives off into the woods. It's like, the fuck is this?
It's controlled by Flubber. That's what's going on.
Man, that's a deep cut.
Flubber is a bad movie, everyone. Don't watch Flubber.
I loved that movie when I was a kid.
Don't watch it. I'm telling you. Just keep your memories. Tried to watch it with my kids a few years ago. It is very bad.
Burned my eyes.
My worst use of magic by a witch or wizard is from Goblet of Fire, and this is very nitpicky, but it is the explanation and the, I guess, use of Priori Incantatem. And so, like I said, this is super nitpicky, and it's one of those, well, they got the books wrong kind of things, but it's stupid how they did it. So I have to pick on it here. It's just too stupid for me not to call out, because they go so far beyond what the actual spell is, and they get it completely wrong to the point where they should have just not said anything. So Priori Incantatem is a spell that is supposed to review what spells were recently cast by a given wand. In the books, they use it to at the Quidditch World Cup to see who cast the Dark Mark when I think it was Winky, the house elf, cast the Dark Mark for Barty Crouch Jr. And so they got a hold of her and did the Priori Incantatem and saw that it came from that wand. None of that's important in the movie, and it's left out, which is fine. So then when Harry and Voldemort's wands meet in the graveyard, in the books, the spell somehow malfunctions, and it causes Harry to see everyone that Voldemort had killed, because that's all his wand had ever done, was kill people. Well, that was like the last few things his wand had done, was kill people. So he sees Cedric, and he sees his parents, and he sees the guy from the beginning of Goblet of Fire, and all of these people who have died due to Voldemort. He sees that because Harry somehow triggered Priori Incantatem when they're locked in this battle. But that's not what happens in the movie. Their spells just click, or like their wands just click, and he still sees everyone, and they help him get back. So then he goes back, and Dumbledore makes it seem like the spell is just when Harry's talking to Dumbledore about it and he's explaining it, Dumbledore kind of gives the explanation, and he just kind of mumbles under his breath, "Oh, Priori Incantatem," where it sounds like that spell is just when the wands connect. And that's all it is the Priori Incantatem was the act of the wands connecting, not the reflection of all the spells that had been cast. And so, like, in my mind, at that point, you might as well not even include it. Like, don't even have Dumbledore say that under his breath. Just blame it on the twin cores of the wands or whatever, because I think that comes up in the book too, is that the twin cores is really what causes their wands to clash. So why are you throwing that term out there that doesn't fit what you actually showed us in the movie? So, sorry, I had to nitpick on that, but it was fucking stupid.
I mean, that was a fair point, fair nitpick. I have a lot about that movie, specifically when they're coming down from the sky and they're like kicking the air, like they're fucking dog paddling in the air. That's so dumb. Ugh.
Like in that scene where their wands connect and they're both kind of like floating? Is that what
No, at the very beginning of the movie where Arthur, Cedric, and his dad are like floating down from the sky, and it's just like how they're just fucking like dog paddling in the air. What is going on? You guys, if you have
Goblet of Fire is kind of rough.
Well, I mean, yeah. Yup.
I was upset in Goblet of Fire that they didn't include all the cool stuff that the two Quidditch World Cup teams did, like as their intros. Because in the books, that's one of my favorite scenes, is when those two teams are coming out, and they just kind of skimmed over all the Quidditch World Cup stuff, which I get. Like they don't. That's a really hard scene to make, but I kind of wanted to see it too.
I think everybody did.
Yeah. And then I've got another honorable mention here, but this doesn't really count because it's not magic within the movie. But the quote-unquote movie magic of aging the cast up in Deathly Hallows Part 2 is absolutely dreadful, and I think we need to point that out whenever possible.
It's fucking horrendous, dude.
So worst magic is the filmmakers of Deathly Hallows 2.
That shit was whack 41.
Yeah, very, very bad.
Listen, Albus Severus Potter.
Let's give everybody a little bit of a beer gut and just a little facial hair, and they'll look older.
I know I'm 24, but back in my day, yeah, they look ridiculous. Jenny looked terrible. They did her dirty as fuck. They're like, oh man, we're gonna age her 50 years.
I mean, really, throughout the whole run of the movies, they did her terribly, and at every chance they got, everything they tried to do with Ginny was just like completely missed the mark. Except Chamber of Secrets. I think they hit her pretty good there.
Mm-hmm.
So
3 lines in that movie.
I mean, she got possessed by Voldemort for half the movie.
Nice. They're like, this kid's a shitty actor. Let's fucking just make her a mute.
So the best magical artifact / creature. I chose Sorcerer's Stone. And I chose all of the Sorcerer's Stone, because we get introduced to so many new artifacts because it's Harry's and our introduction to the world, that there's just a ton of cool stuff. And after that, we just kind of get 1 or 2 new things every movie. So I just want to pick the whole movie if I can do that here. And I'll just list some of the cool things we get introduced to. We got the Deluminator, super cool. Diagon Alley as a place is awesome. Hogwarts as a magical artifact is one of the coolest magical artifacts out there. You got moving staircases. The Great Hall, where the roof adapts to whatever the weather is outside or whatever you want it to be. The Forbidden Forest is a cool place with lots of cool creatures. You got the magical paintings. The Sorting Hat is dope. Ghosts. Quidditch. A lot of cool stuff with Quidditch and the Snitch and the Bludgers and all that. All of the challenges that they built to get to the Philosopher's Stone is really cool. The Philosopher's Stone itself is really cool. You got the Mirror of Erised and the Invisibility Cloak all get introduced in the Sorcerer's Stone, and I think you just got to give it up for the whole movie at that point.
The world building is intense.
Yeah, like they introduce a lot of stuff.
Literally,
and then they're just like, fuck it, we don't need any more stuff in the next 8 movies.
You know what a howler is? Let's do it.
Yeah, we got a howler. We got the Remembrall.
The Nimbus 2000.
Yeah, the Remembrall's kind of whack.
The Remembrall's fucking dumb.
Here's the thing that'll help you remember something, but you don't actually remember what you forgot.
Dude, where do you fucking put that? I never see anyone take anything out of their pockets. Do they have fucking pockets?
Yeah, they got pockets in their robe.
What are they? I mean, why would he not just keep that in his goddamn pocket?
He did, and then Malfoy stole it from him.
Because he took it out. He's like, oh, I'm fucking stupid.
No, it fell out because they were doing the.
That's right.
The flying lesson, and he got flipped upside down and it dropped. I mean, Neville is not a great wizard, so.
You take that back.
Oh, he eventually becomes one, but in Sorcerer's Stone, he is
best use of magic ever in Harry Potter is fixing that dude's teeth.
Neville's glow up. All right, what do you got for best use of magic besides the Neville Longbottom glow up?
The best magical artifact?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Or creature? I chose, like I said, a creature and an artifact. But here's the kicker. I said fuck the rules.
Oh.
And I went with what I love.
Well, you automatically
These have always
lose.
been my favorite. I've lost every one of these. So I chose the Night Bus from Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah, I had that on my list.
Fucking love the Night Bus, man. That is so cool. A bus that shows up for any stranded wizard all over the main, mostly in London.
Yeah, I think it's just London.
I don't know if it would be able to go anywhere else, but the capability to slow down time, basically change their mass, if you think about it. No, you wouldn't be able to change your mass. You cannot do that, but they can bend it at will.
Yes.
It also is a triple-decker bus with a chandelier that's fucking pimping. Beds, you got fucking food and drink service, really great accommodations. But the fact that, I would just be that one wizard that's shit-faced, leaving the bar and just oh no,
Yeah, it's your
I'm
private
stranded. And they just show up. And it's cheap. Very cheap. And
I agree.
I just think it's a really, really, really neat thing. Like, really convenient. And I think it's kind of universal for most older wizards, or witches and wizards, kind of like how, the leaky cauldron is. Like, everybody knows what the leaky cauldron is. The night bus is dope.
So when I was going through these, for these two categories, as I'm watching the movies, I pretty much just laid out every movie and picked the best and worst thing of like use of magic and magical artifacts. I just picked out the best and worst from each movie and then whittled it down afterwards. So I knew there was going to be cool stuff in every movie. So I was just like, instead of trying to make the decision in real time, I'll just choose one from every movie and then figure it out at the end. And the night bus was definitely one of the top ones from Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it, and I was going to pick something else, but the night bus has always been, like, my shtick. If that makes,
it's really cool.
Makes everything, if that makes any sense. And I got a runner-up for Best Magical Artifact. That's the Marauders map.
Yep.
Hella convenient. No one could raid Hogwarts. Kinda. And
well,
then
if you solemnly swear you're up to no good, they can't.
I mean, my wife made a little fucking onesie for my daughter when she was super little. She had the whole Harry Potter fit. It's the cutest thing ever. And Best Magical Creature. I'm going to get some shit for this, I think.
It's a blast-ended Scroot.
How did you know?
They don't even show up in the movies.
The Basilisk.
The Basilisk is pretty cool.
The Basilisk is fucking super dope. It's overly intelligent. It can turn shit to stone. So you got a lethal and non-lethal method of dealing with your enemies. Imagine like throwing that at, a phalanx or something. But I don't
know that the Basilisk was trying to petrify everyone. He was trying to kill and eat those people, and he just fucked up and looked at them through mirrors and puddles and shit like that and cameras. I don't think he was ever like, he didn't know what he was doing. Maybe he did.
He would have to. If he was, you just said he was trying to eat people. If that's his goal,
but he knows if
ambition.
he looks in their eyes, he kills them. So why are you not just looking straight in their eyes and eating them? I don't know. I'm not a
have to ask the Basilisk.
Yeah.
But I just always thought they were fucking rad. There's a lot of cool stuff in Harry Potter, but the Basilisk was dope. I hate snakes, but I think outside of just plot armor, that thing is damn near unbeatable.
Well, and the venom of a basilisk can destroy Horcruxes, which is important.
That's very also convenient.
Yes.
And their teeth, they have terrible dental hygiene, so their teeth just fall right the fuck out.
You just rip them right out.
Yeah, easy peasy, buddy.
Some scraggly redhead can walk right up and just rip it out of your mouth.
Give me that.
So let's move to the worst magical artifact or creature. This one, this was hard. This was pretty much the last thing on my list to choose. And I had to give something here. And at the same time, I had to give an award to the movie that I'm going to pick, which is kind of the downside of having exactly 10 movies is you have to give something for everything. So at the end of the day, I think I'm okay with it because most of this movie was more or less just treading water anyways. So I went Deathly Hallows Part 1 and the Horcrux Locket, which is, evil incarnate, makes everyone around it assholes. It tries to drown Harry, tries to make Ron feel bad. Just not a good dude, that Locket.
Not a good dude, that inanimate object. That piece of shit. But what's funny, I picked the same thing.
Yeah.
Because that's really all I could fucking pick from that movie.
Deathly Hallows doesn't do, like the first Deathly Hallows doesn't do a whole lot of anything. It's like, let's run around in the fucking woods for an hour.
So what I don't really get, it's like, just don't wear it. You know?
Put it in Hermione's bag.
Right. Put it in a bag, and you'll be fine. Still safe.
I didn't get it either. I guess the thought is you could lose a bag, but you're not going to lose a person. Even though they did lose Ron, but, whatever.
They lose people all the time in this series.
That's true.
They're just fucking gone.
Ginny got taken down in the fucking Chamber of Secrets no one even knew for an hour.
I mean, Harry went to a graveyard and then just showed up with a body.
With a dead body, yeah. It's okay. They're in the maze. They'll be fine.
No, I want to hold him.
Bardi Moody designed the whole thing. They'll be fine. They'll be fine.
I'm really glad they didn't bring to life all the creatures in the maze, because the Sphinx type thing, I don't think I would have been able to handle that.
Yeah, I don't know. I know they had to like move through it because you got to get to the graveyard and you got to get as much graveyard in as you can. But like the maze was pretty cool in the books too, and they missed a lot of chances there. But it's also not cinematic. Like it's not very cinematic, I don't think. Like the Sphinx sitting there trying to figure out the riddle of the Sphinx is not cinematic in any way.
No, it's not.
All right, so what do you got for the best evil plan?
Best evil plan. I got Draco being a thug. Finally being like, I don't know, shifty. He came into his own for this, I think. Sneaking in a bunch of Death Eaters into Hogwarts covertly in the Half-Blood Prince. Mm-hmm. If he did not give the monologue, I think things would have gone a lot different. Like you wouldn't have had, I don't think Snape would have really had to break his cover in front of Harry if Draco would have just fucking killed Dumbledore and been done with it.
Well, Draco couldn't do it, and Dumbledore didn't want. Like Dumbledore in the books, he doesn't monologue, right? Because we see all that stuff happen in real time, and that's one of my biggest problems with Half-Blood Prince is we don't see Draco actually bring anybody in through the Vanishing Cabinet. We don't see him using the Hand of Glory. We don't see like Ginny, Hermione, Neville, Ron, and Luna drinking the rest of the Felix Felicis and fighting against all the Death Eaters that are in there, stalling until Harry and Dumbledore can get back. We don't see any of that, so now we get to the Astronomy Tower, and the only way to find out what's going on is for Draco to monologue. But in the books, it's Dumbledore basically telling Draco he can't do it, and telling him that it's okay, and telling him that he's lost, but he hasn't gone all the way, and if he does kill Dumbledore, then he's gone all the way over to the other side. And you know, Dumbledore sets up Snape to do it. Like, Dumbledore wants Snape to do it, so Draco doesn't cross the line. And I agree that, like, that's where Draco's plan falls short, is he doesn't finish the job, but at the same time, he can't finish the job and still come out as somewhat redeemable.
He doesn't have to. That's the beauty of it. Like, this dude has been a slimy little turd ball the entire series. He's not good. He is, I mean, he looks down on people. He treats others like shit. He actively hurts people, attacks people, bullies people. This dude is a garbage human being. But I still think it's a great evil plan.
Oh, it is.
I mean, he's fantastically
the way he uses
sneaky.
The Disappearing Cabinet or the Vanishing Cabinet and brings everybody in is fantastic.
That is legitimately, I think I have a relatively strategic mind if I have, you know, an end goal and I have time to kind of think about what I would do. If I didn't know about the Vanishing Cabinet, and kudos to him for discovering it and remembering it, I don't think I would have been able to think of that. I would have probably fixated on some kind of frontward assault.
Secret passageways, something like that.
Something like that would have been defeated or would have taken a tremendous amount of work that would have just tired, you know,
I mean, he had a couple other failed plans on the way there, too. He had the necklace that he gave to Katie Bell that was supposed to get to Dumbledore and never did. And he had the wine that he gave to Slughorn that was supposed to get to Dumbledore that never did. And ended up poisoning Ron. So, like, he had some bad plans, too. Don't worry.
But in the end, if you think about it, those plans achieved really great things if in the greater scheme of things, if you're looking at it from his perspective. Because he created so much fear when that one girl got possessed. Mm-hmm. And then, again, when Ron got poisoned.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have broke the love spell.
The only other thing I want to point out is Draco had to be redeemed because kind of the whole point of the story is that nobody's beyond redemption. And even
except Voldemort.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
Except
Draco.
Voldemort.
The reason Draco had to be redeemed is because the whole point of the story is that no one is beyond redemption. And Voldemort, even in his last moments, Harry gives him the chance to reconcile and redeem himself. At least in the books. In the movies, he doesn't. He just fucking blows him to a million pieces.
That's what I would have done.
Because that's the only way to repair your soul. That's the whole point of like the Horcrux hunt and everything is you can repair your soul if you show remorse and like actual remorse, and you can become whole again. And so Harry gives him that chance. He gives him that last chance to repair his soul, and Voldemort doesn't take it. And in the end, he dies like any other person. So that's why it was important for Dumbledore to try to keep Draco from crossing the line, because if Draco crosses that line and kills somebody, it's much harder to show remorse and to rebuild your soul at that point. And so that's why it was important for Dumbledore to keep Draco talking until Snape could get there. And Draco doesn't understand that, but the whole overarching premise of the story is that no one's beyond redemption. So that's why it needs to happen.
I don't think she thought that far into it, honestly.
She did. It's all there.
Well, I mean, I get that, but with Harry, in the end, trying to still redeem Voldemort by giving him that sense of, an avenue to remorse, when you just said yourself, like, if he kills people, that's crossing that line. That's losing a piece of you. Voldemort's lost too many pieces. There ain't nothing left to redeem, I guess. This is just me being nitpicky.
Well,
I fucking noticed. This is what we do on these, though.
Yeah,
it's Harry Potter. I deserve to be nitpicky.
You can be, and so it's not that they're beyond redemption. It's that redemption becomes much more challenging. It's more challenging to repair your soul than to just be like, okay, no, I'm cool. I'm not going to kill people.
Yeah.
Well,
once you lose a piece of you, I think you just don't get it back. Like, you can fill that hole with other things.
Like dicks. Dicks to the soul. New band name. Dicks to the soul.
New band name, I call it Soul Dick.
All right, so my best evil
Dick
plan.
La Soul.
I'm going out in left field here, and I'm going Fantastic Beasts, Crimes of Grindelwald.
Okay.
So Grindelwald's plan here is to just basically mirror Hitler's rise, right? He blames Muggles for the ongoing wars, shows them visions of World War II coming on the horizon right after World War I's pretty much over. He tells skilled wizards the things they want to hear to kind of gain their trust and get them on his side. He does that most notably with Queenie, and telling her that in his world she can be with Kowalski, which 100% isn't true, but it doesn't matter. He's telling her what she needs to hear to get her legilimate skills. He gives captivating speeches with stunning visuals. Really important there. He makes sure to pick up powerful wizards with very specific strengths to aid him, like Queenie, like Credence, and some of his other followers. They are very good at one specific thing, so none of them can overpower him, but they have these things that he doesn't necessarily have to help him out. And again, it's horrific and it's an evil plan, but it's also effective as far as evil plans go. He walks out of Crimes of Grindelwald pretty much at the top of his game, and I think we're only going to see him go downhill after that.
I wonder who they're going to get to play Grindelwald.
Mads Mikkelsen.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's going to be way better than Johnny Depp. I'll watch that. Grindelwald, man, I fucking hated that movie. It was so boring. Didn't he escape? Wasn't his escape in the first 10 minutes?
Yeah, he got. It's the best scene of the movie, and it happens it's the very first scene.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid plan.
That's rough. Yeah. Oh yeah, that getting out of there is a very good plan, but I don't think that's his full evil plan. I had that on Best Use of Magic of him getting out of all that, because he switches places with some guy, uses a creature to attack one of the guards, and he's just firing at 1,000 in that, it's a really cool scene.
He's like, thank God that all worked out. I can't believe it.
And so I think this is a good time, before we go on to your answer, to get out my thoughts on Nagini before we go too far, because I think they're important. And this is where we're talking about Crimes of Grindelwald, so I got to put them out here. A lot of people had issues with the reveal about Nagini being a Maledictus and basically later becoming this woman who later becomes Voldemort's slave, more or less. And I don't think that's what happens with her. We haven't seen that story play out, but I'm pretty sure I don't think she becomes his slave. I think she is. I think Voldemort seems to truly care about Nagini, the snake/person. And it's my theory that Nagini is kind of the closest thing he has to an actual confidant. at some point between Crimes of Grindelwald and Goblet of Fire, she fully transforms into a snake and can't turn back into a person. And Voldemort finds her in the Albanian wilderness. That's something that's said somewhere, that's where he finds her. So he spent a lot of time in the Albanian wilderness. When he first leaves Borgin and Burke's, when he's still Tom Riddle, he hasn't quite risen to power. But he's just out there trying to learn some dark magic, and he goes out there, and then he eventually comes back to interview for the Defense Against the Dark Arts job. But all that time in between, he's in Albania just wandering around. And then after he dies and turns into the ghost spirit thing, he goes back out to the Albanian wilderness, and that's where he meets up with Quirrell and convinces him to join in this bond, or overtakes him, or however he gets Quirrell to go along with that plan for Sorcerer's Stone. So he's
hey man, I'll suck your dick. Just let me fucking be on the back of your head.
Unicorn blood up in here.
This shit.
So sometime in that time, he's spending all his time in Albania. So I think at some point he runs into this snake that he can talk to. And whether I think he's probably Ghost Voldemort at that time, and she's Snake Person. And I think this girl Snake is out there. She's no longer a human, trying to make it on her own as a snake, but she's not really a snake, so she doesn't know how to do that. Maybe she can't communicate with the snakes. Maybe she just doesn't know how to survive as only a snake. And then she just happens upon this one person or ghost thing that can still talk to snakes. Voldemort's the only person that can do that at the time, that can talk to snakes. So now they both have somebody that they can converse with, and in Voldemort's eyes, it's somebody he can tell secrets to, he can kind of bounce things off of without, she's trustworthy because she literally can't tell anybody else.
Yeah, I was about to say.
For her, it's the one person she can talk to because it's literally the one person she can talk to, and can reflect on what it was like for her to be a human. So I think they actually build somewhat of a relationship and a bond of being these outsiders and the only ones who understand each other. And so by the time, Voldemort's back in his full power after Goblet of Fire, and he keeps her by her side constantly, she's not there as a slave. She's there as a friend. She's there as someone he trusts more than anyone else. She sends him off to attack Harry in Godric's Hollow by herself, trusting that she'll get the job done. And yeah, I think it's more of a friendship rather than this thing that he found that he can easily control and manipulate. He had the Death Eaters for that. He was set on people to control and manipulate. I think Nagini is more of an actual friend, actual confidant there.
Well, I think Nagini is his spirit animal, if that makes any sense. His,
sure.
He has snake-like qualities. I think, honestly, he would be a snake if he could. He's a furry. He's a scaly.
Yeah, I don't think it's a furry. He's a slimy.
He's like, hey, boo, you want sexy-ass snake? And the snake's like, the fuck?
Who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, what? Can you feed me, though? He's like, yeah,
so we're on the same page. He definitely fucked Nagini.
I'm, positive. They at least shared some, steamy dinners over a nice big rat.
She gave him that good snake dome.
He's like, oh, bite me. And she's like, all right, fam.
While Wormtail's over there milking her venom.
All
right, so what do you got for the worst evil plan?
His fucking metal hand, worst evil plan. So I think let me just say it worked out, so I don't know how worst it could be. But it always struck me as really silly. And that's attacking the Quidditch World Cup and
that's a bad plan.
The Goblet of Fire. There are so many. Okay, let me just say this. If that happened in America, that shit wouldn't fly.
Well, also, all of the plans in Goblet, all of the evil plans in Goblet of Fire are bad.
How many Death Eaters are even there? 50? 60? And you're telling me well, yeah, I can see it. But all these people are fucking armed. They all have their wands.
Yeah, I think it's more of an element of surprise thing. You start setting off explosions and people just start running like crazy.
I mean, that's just what drives me absolutely insane. I think that's a terrible, terrible plan.
I don't disagree at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's too much ground. There's too many variables. You want to make a statement and just kind of pop in and kill a bunch of people, but that is a good way to lose most of your numbers. Yeah, like if this is a big gathering of Death Eaters, then
but it kind of worked, right? Because Barty Crouch Jr. escapes at that point.
It did work out, and I mean, like I said, it ended up working out in the end. I think it was sheer dumb luck, and but also at the same time, if your goal is to kill like high-profile people, you fucking missed Harry Potter there on the ground.
I don't think that was their goal. I think their goal was just to
sow mass confusion.
Yeah,
but
it was to just create terror. It wasn't.
Where's security?
There isn't any.
The fuck, bro? Like, that is the only reason that shit would have worked. If you see all these fucking Death Eaters apparate within, the Quidditch World Cup at night while
I think they were all there.
Chilling.
I think they all just had their KKK robes in their tents and just started putting them on.
Where's the registry?
Yeah.
Let's follow the paper trail here. See,
I agree.
I'm a no-match piece of shit.
And the plan to get Harry to the graveyard is also very bad. All right, let's.
Like, what if he doesn't win? Let's just leave it at that. What if he doesn't get to the fucking... Yeah,
that's the easiest part. But let's install Barty Crouch Jr. using Polyjuice Potion as Mad-Eye, one of the most skilled Aurors ever. So let's start there. Then we're going to gain Harry Potter's trust. We're going to enter him in the Triwizard Tournament for whatever reason. We're going to almost kill him with dragons. We're going to almost kill him underwater, which those weren't part of their plans, but those are just things that almost happened on the way. Then we're going to throw him in the maze, again where he almost dies, and very well might not win any way you shake it. Like, he was starting in last place, I think, for the maze, so he's got the least chance of making it. So what happens if Crumb gets there first? And I know Barty's in there, like, making sure nobody else makes it, and he Imperious Crumb and all that, but what happens if Harry doesn't get there first? What if Harry just, like, gives up and he's like, fuck it, I don't want to win this damn cup?
Too many variables.
Yeah, way too many variables, way too many moving parts. And then when, like, all right, you got Barty there already, he's already gained Harry's trust, just turn something in your office into a portkey and be like, hey Harry, grab me that cup over there, let's have some wine, bro. Boom. He's in the graveyard, bro, by himself.
Yeah, I mean that is 100%. Or why not
just, like, Barty
hand me my Polyjuice Potion there.
Hand
me my flask.
Yeah, he grabbed him like 100 times throughout the movie. Why not just grab him and apparate, and boom, you're there.
I mean, you could literally slip anything into his pocket when you grab him, and he's like reaching in there like, oh fuck, what is this? $100 bill.
Boom, he's there.
And then it's just a portkey. He would definitely grab a $100 bill. You already know. A couple gallons.
Ron would steal it from him first. Ron would, like, smell that shit through his robes. Harry, did you get some new money?
So, hey, bro, you got a few galleons I can borrow? How the fuck do you know? No reason.
That's not my worst. That's a bad plan, but it's not my worst evil plan. My worst evil plan was from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I've seen this movie probably 3 times now, and I still
How could you do that to yourself?
Don't fully understand Grindelwald's plan.
It's not meant to be understood.
No, he's trying to track down the Obscurious using Credence because he's had this vision of Credence, and then he wants to harness the power of the Obscurious, which not possible, or kidnap the source of it. But for some reason, first he has to not only impersonate, but fully disguise himself as a MACUSA agent so he can play both sides of it, and that's where it loses me. Like, why is he going through all that? He knows it's Credence. Why aren't you just staking out Credence and waiting for attacks to happen and then being like, boom, okay, I'm here? Instead, he's, like, doing this whole thing with MACUSA, and he's wasting a ton of time because now he's hearing about the attacks when they're reported instead of just watching Credence at all times, which is what he ends up doing in Crimes of Grindelwald. He just starts watching Credence and luring him in. But, like, I don't get why he needs to do the whole Graves bit. I think it's only there so the movie can eventually pull the rug out from the audience. It has nothing to do with Grindelwald being a great wizard or anything else. Because if
so it can last 2.5 hours.
Well, yeah, that's true. If he's impersonating a MACUSA agent to gain intel on the attacks, I don't know where he needs that anywhere. He has the vision of Credence. He knows the attacks are somehow linked to him. What is he learning from MACUSA at that point? And how does he do all of that without ass loads of Polyjuice Potion? As we saw, like, Barty had to be continuously drinking out of the flask the entire time he was Mad-Eye Moody. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So it's a bad plan.
Gets him
just
off,
go
dude.
hang out with Credence.
He's spying. He's getting off on it, dude. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and Fantastic Beasts, it's not a great movie. It did, however, make the world feel magical and expansive again, because I think by like the last 3 or 4 Harry Potter movies, the world felt very tight. It felt small. It felt intertwined. Everything only happened to like 6 people. There's only like 5 spells that are using, but Fantastic Beasts come in and re-expands the world. It made it feel like anything could be done with magic, and I think that's how the first 2 books and the first 2 movies really felt, is like...
First 3.
I said what I said. You can do anything with magic, and magic is cool and fun, and this world is huge, and there's a million things going on in it.
It's fucking magic.
And,
it's dope.
You know, I also thought it was cool in Fantastic Beasts in both those movies that we're watching fully trained adult wizards do the magic, just because, for the same reason there. Like, they know what they're doing. They're not kids learning anymore. It's not, well, here's a school lesson that most of you are going to fuck up some way. It's, we already learned all this shit. We know what we're doing. We're just going to use spells and be badasses. And that's really cool to watch.
That's fair. That's okay.
The world building within the Fantastic Beasts movie is a lot better than any of the plot lines in either movie. Which is all I'm really interested in Harry Potter anyways, is like, I just want to see what can be done in this world.
I mean, yeah, I agree with that.
Which brings us to our final award, the best win for Harry Potter. This is pretty easy. It comes in Deathly Hallows Part 2. He defeats Voldemort. You don't think that's his best win?
No.
Okay. Well, let me lay it out for you. Maybe you'll agree with me at the end. Otherwise, you can continue to disagree.
I mean, you're right, but you're wrong.
Okay. Well, so not only does he defeat him here, but he explodes him into a million pieces, right? And I don't want to forget all the steps it takes to actually get there. And these are all things that we see in this movie. He's got to infiltrate Gringotts and Bellatrix's vault to get Hufflepuff's cup. He's then got to break into the school. He's got to find the diadem and escape the dumbass Slytherin's fiend fire that they set off in the Room of Requirement. He's got to figure out that he's the true owner of the Elder Wand and trust that it actually means something. He has to learn about his destiny from all of Snape's memories and build up the courage to go confront Voldemort. He uses the Resurrection Stone. He confronts Voldemort. He dies. He's got a nice discussion with Ghost Dumbledore. Ghostledore? Is that what we'll call him?
Dumbleghost.
Dumbleghost, there we go. Returns from the dead, waits until Nagini is actually dead, and then actually kills Voldemort. And all the while not knowing how or what any of the Horcruxes actually are, because the movie did such a terrible job setting up how they should have discovered them. That's a lot for Harry to do in that one movie.
Yeah, it's a lot to do, but I just don't find it to be the best win.
It's a big win. The Dark Lord is dead for real this time.
One. It is a big win, and he, there's some major detractions from it, though. That's all. That's my kind of whole.
Right,
I think there's too much taken away from it.
There's a lot taken away. Let's hear what you got.
Best win, I got defeating Quirrell in the Sorcerer's Stone.
Okay.
Mostly because he didn't have to do too much. Obviously, he didn't know what the fuck he was doing quite yet.
He just kind of fell into it.
But that was, I think that was a major eye-opener for what the fuck he was going to experience. Like, that would have been so incredibly frightening. So you have this terrible upbringing, you find out you're a fucking super special wizard, you go to this awesome school, these teachers are basically parents to you, or the closest things you've had to people that care about you and try to teach you things like parents would in your entire life, and then you find out this dude who no one will even really talk about is like a half baby head attached to one of your teachers, while at the same time he falls to pieces because of just the strength of love your mother had. So, he's grown up his entire life, like I mentioned prior. Everyone's ragging on his mom, everyone's ragging on his family, especially Aunt Petunia, her being her sister.
She
and
hated her.
fucking hated her guts. She probably shit
Let's
on her.
talk about for a second these parents that name their kids Petunia and Lily. Like, come the fuck on. You can't think of better
fucking
names.
Flower childs.
Yeah.
Get out of here, you hippies. Ugh. But that, I think, is pretty cool for Harry. It's the catalyst for absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And at the same time learning that the Sorcerer's Stone exists. So he's simultaneously forced to grow up dramatically while he's getting the best crash course of magic use and the range and potential of magic that anyone in the history of fucking magic has gotten. When you see a stone that makes you live forever in the Sorcerer's Stone, the basic resurrection of the Dark Lord, so you're privy to very critical information as well. So I think he wins on multiple fronts. He set fucking Voldemort back. Fucking's gonna be a big word this episode.
Fucking Voldemort.
He learned the range of life to a certain extent, and he also learned more of his past. This is his great leap forward.
Mm-hmm. It's his call to action, and that makes sense. And I agree with you on a lot of the points you made. I had Chamber of Secrets as my runner-up for a lot of the same reasons. I think getting into the Chamber of Secrets and defeating Ghost Tom Riddle was a little bit more challenging because he was doing it all by himself. He had Hermione and Ron to kind of help him through all the challenges to get to the Sorcerer's Stone. And again, just kind of staring into the Mirror of Erised, got the stone from him. Complete luck. And touching Quirrell/Voldemort started burning his skin. Again, that's just complete luck. He didn't know any of that was going to happen. But he has a lot more agency over the things that happen in Chamber of Secrets, and he's like in the middle of dying because the basilisk bites him at one point. So he's in the middle of dying, and he still brings the courage to fight back and fight on and stop Ghost Riddle from fully coming back and taking over Ginny's life force. But it's a lot of the same thing. This is his. He has these calls to action, which most 11, 12-year-olds would just be like, fuck it. I'm out. Let Lockhart take credit for this, right?
Yeah. Peace. Psych. Fuck this. I'm going to go get my Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
And so that's something that happened this last time that I read, because when I read them the first time, I'm a kid, pretty much the same age as Harry. And so, like, it all made sense. But when I'm reading it as an adult and I look back and I'm like, when I was 13, I was a fucking dumbass. I'm not doing any of this shit. This is a kid pulling all this stuff out. And it really, in the first 3 books is where that really rears its head, is like he's 11, 12, 13 years old going through this and doing it with just absolute gusto. That's really cool.
It's pretty solid. He's the luckiest kid in the fucking world ever.
He's the boy who lived.
You know?
All right, so the worst win for Harry is in Order of the Phoenix.
Elaborate.
Because he doesn't really win. I think it's safe to say in Order of the Phoenix and Goblet of Fire, he doesn't really win at the end of either of those movies/books. Voldemort lures him into the Department of Ministries on false pretense. He goes. That causes Sirius to die. They lose the prophecy while they're there. Voldemort goes toe-to-toe with Dumbledore. And, I mean, a great scene, but like I think it severely hindered Dumbledore there. He possesses Harry for a little bit, and he gets away. So I don't know how at the end of Order of the Phoenix you're going, yeah, Harry's the dude in this one.
I mean, the perseverance.
Well, yeah, he keeps coming back, but that was a rough one.
I agree. But I went with something different, obviously.
Okay.
I think it was rough, but it was a great way to. Sorry, thought I heard crying. It was a great way to culminate a lot of things without it being the finale. You know, a lot of open-ended but really progressive things happen in that movie, which most of it was kind of not that great.
No, it's not. It's also the shortest one.
Yeah, which is weird.
They really took a lot out of that one, and I think it's But I think at the end of it, it's Harry Potter's version of Empire Strikes Back, where the bad guys are at the height of their powers now. They have the biggest win. The bad guys have the biggest win in Order of the Phoenix, I think. I guess it could be argued that Half-Blood Prince killing Dumbledore, kind of cementing that Snape is on the evil side at this point. Now knowing they take over Hogwarts.
Rising to power again.
Yeah.
Like they're there. Yeah. They're back.
That's true.
And the only reason I picked this other one is because of the tremendous loss of life, especially to all those people that are super close to Harry, and that was Deathly Hallows Part 2, defeating Voldemort, because so many of his close people died. And everyone else has PTSD. Hogwarts will never be trusted again. And, well, that's not true, because Harry sends his fucking kids there.
Safest
that
place
train's still pretty busy.
No safer place.
Yeah, definitely not. There's nothing wrong here. They definitely haven't put him in tremendous danger for 7 years. But yeah, I thought that sucked for Harry because it really kind of boiled down to the relationships he made along the way. All those people are his family, and he lost very close. Lupin, Tonks, was it Fred that got killed?
I think Fred loses his ear and George gets killed.
There's a lot of people that die.
Yep. I get how I get where that's coming from.
That's a rough win.
Yeah, that's a hard win on the other side of it, right? Is the win is good, but the cost of the win is not.
It's a Pyrrhic victory.
Yes. And then I just want to point out, because this was my Order of the Phoenix entry, that again, Filch is the one going around removing all of the magical paintings when Umbridge is kind of on her montage of shittiness. Filch is the one taking all the paintings down. So again, he gets entrusted with dealing with magical paintings. So I really think we're onto something with this. Filch knows his shit with magical paintings.
I think anything that's framed, because he also is
he's the one hanging the things. Yeah.
Yes, he's very good at hanging rules and do's and do nots.
That's true.
Very nifty.
All right, those are all our awards we gave out. Just to recap here, we gave the best and worst defense against the dark arts teacher, the best and worst use of magic by a wizard or witch, the best and worst magical artifact / creature, the best and worst evil plan, and the best and worst win for Harry Potter. So go back and listen to all those if you forgot already.
Dang.
So now we're moving on to what would you do, Nick? And the question is, what is the best adaptation? Which movie do you not what's the best movie, but what movie do you think best adapted the source material?
That one's really, really tough. I'm torn between. I think it's Prisoner of Azkaban that did a really great job.
I have a really hard time with Prisoner of Azkaban because I don't like how the werewolf looks.
I think it looks pretty great. I don't like it. I think the animation is not, the CGI is not very good, but like today that would be higher. But I think the Sorcerer's Stone.
Mm-hmm. That was my pick.
Probably the best adaptation.
Yeah, I think with Sorcerer's Stone it's the easiest to make because nothing in Sorcerer's Stone really had stakes beyond Sorcerer's Stone. It was more of a self-contained novel. Like there were some Easter eggs here that would come up later in the movies, like things like the Deluminator and McGonagall's transfiguration and things like that, but they weren't necessary to make the rest of the movies. And I think Sorcerer's Stone also best captures the magic of the world, which is a super fun thing to experience. And I think once they got to Prisoner of Azkaban, and this is where I kind of disagree with you, everything really led into future movies, and it became more detrimental to leave things out of the adaptations, where if you left parts out in Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire, Order of the Phoenix, those things often would come back in the books for Half-Blood Prince and Deathly Hallows. So when you leave them out of those early movies, you're either having to play catch-up in the later movies to explain them away, or you just have to leave them out and figure out a new way to do things. And I think Prisoner of Azkaban is where the movies start losing sight of the important details from the books, and they try and focus more on, instead of including details, we're going to look at how to make this the most cinematic. I think the first two movies do a decent job of keeping all the important details while trimming some of the stuff and condensing what's needed. But in Prisoner of Azkaban, we learn nothing about who the Marauders were before we meet Sirius and Pettigrew, and see that Stag Patronus for the first time. So Harry has no reason to believe that the Stag Patronus was from his father, because no one told him that Moony, Wormtail, Padfoot, and Prongs were James, Sirius, Lupin, and Pettigrew. So when he's sitting there going, it was my dad, that doesn't make any sense, because it was never laid out that those people were animagi and could do that. I think in the books, Lupin explains all of that to him when he gets the Marauders map taken away from him.
I'll have to read them.
Yeah. Again. And the other thing, we get no context on werewolves before Lupin changes for the first time. We see the moon and Snape as the Defense Against the Dark Arts stand-in with the super heavy-handed turn to the werewolf page kind of thing. So we don't really get any background for like we're going to see a werewolf and then just boom, all of a sudden we see one.
I mean, if you're going into the movie cold, you've never read Harry Potter.
What a lot of people hadn't, though, right? Like a lot of people just watched the movies.
I'm going to disagree with you there.
I think there's a lot more people who hadn't watched the movies, and you never get I don't think they established heavily enough why Sirius was important to Harry and how important Harry was to Sirius before Sirius gets recaptured and has to fly away on Buckbeak and whatever. I just they have this very brief conversation in the movie, and but it was all these conversations with Sirius that helped Harry go full chub on his Patronus when the Dementors were attacking them. But we don't really get that. We don't get that he was so looking forward to being able to spend time with Sirius and to be at Sirius's house and have family for real. Yeah, we don't get that in the movie, and then it's just all of a sudden, okay, I can do my full Patronus now because whatever, because I already did it. Yeah.
Shit.
And I also just don't think they explain the time turner well enough, which leads to hundreds of hot takes about how terrible it is at time travel. And it's not as terrible as people make it out. People who have only seen the movies think it's terrible, but like it's explained much better how it works and why only certain things work in the books. And like, so you get all of these terrible theories or terrible hot takes of, well, time turners are stupid because you could just do this. Why couldn't they just go back and stop Voldemort and blah, 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 blah. But that's not how it works. So.
The old conundrum of book to movie adaptation.
Yeah. So that's why I have a problem. I think Sorcerer's Stone's the best. I have a lot of problems with Prisoner of Azkaban. I have a lot of problems with pretty much every movie after that.
I've noticed.
Yeah. So what's the worst? It's not, I don't think Prisoner of Azkaban's the worst.
Probably Goblet of Fire.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's the first one that comes to mind.
For me, it's Half-Blood Prince. I think they just cut out too much of Riddle's memories, and that would have helped them on the Horcrux hunt, and that leads to them really, really screwing up the Horcrux hunt in Deathly Hallows, because in the books, they work much more like detectives and actively thinking through puzzles and figuring out what Horcruxes are, why Voldemort chose certain things, and where they would be hidden. But in the movie, it's just like, nah, Harry just instantly knows because Voldemort thinks about it and lets Harry read his mind. So
yeah,
we got it.
Come on in, check it out. Let's smoke a few blunts.
And again, I'll never forgive the movie for not including that battle that's going on while Harry and Dumbledore are gone. Like, that is such a great scene in the books, and we just don't get it at all. We just get Malfoy going, well, I let him in through the Vanishing Cabinet.
It's one of the few moments that other people get to shine. Like, you know that these other wizards are truly capable, and it's really because of Harry. Yeah.
Well, and they use the I guess Harry does drink the Felix Felicis to when he goes and gets Slughorn's memory. So I was going to say he never got to use it, but he did there. All right, so last and final thing, do you think we're ever going to see another Harry Potter adaptation, and what do you think that would look like?
God, I hope so. I hope they do it again. I know a lot of people would really hate that. Like, personally, I would hate to see them redo Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but Lord of the Rings got a lot of stuff right. As far as I know, I've never read Lord of the Rings, but
I think it's an improvement over the books.
Yeah, from what I've heard is everybody who loves the Lord of the Rings books also loves the Lord of the Rings movies. With Harry Potter, it's very hit or miss, and people love the movies because they exist, not because they tell the story that they want to see, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, and I think it would be a fantastic like mini series, like a Band of Brothers 10-hour, 11-hour.
I think it's got to be longer.
I think you could. I want to say have 7 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, that's the right way to
8
do
episodes.
Is 8 you do 8 to 10 episodes per book. Yeah.
I just think that would be too much. Like, it would be a completionist way to do things. Like, a lot of people would enjoy that. You and me both, bro. I think that would be, if you're gonna do it, that would be the way to do it. And but you still make it and construct it in a way that people can skip like an episode or two, and
you can kind of tell side stories, right? You can tell. Let's take Chamber of Secrets. You can have an episode of like Neville and the herbology Professor Sprout working on the Mandrake potions, right? That's going to save everybody from being petrified. You can kind of flesh out some of these side characters like Neville, who doesn't really do anything until the 5th movie except fuck things up, where really the whole time he showed a proclivity for herbology that we don't ever really get to see in the books. You can expand on Dobby and house elves. You can expand on what's going on in the Forbidden Forest. There's a lot of space to use up that 8 to 10 hours if there's not enough going on with Harry, right?
Right. I mean, well, you could just do it from different perspectives. Like the old show Skins used to do that pretty well, where they would switch between different characters' POVs, and I think that'd be really neat.
And I don't know that it's important for the first 2 books because, like we said, the 2-hour movies did a pretty good job of including what's necessary there. But once you start getting into like Prisoner of Azkaban, where you've got to explain you can do a whole episode on what the Marauders were doing and how they developed the map. You can do a whole episode on Hermione time traveling back and forth, getting to all her classes, kind of things. So I think there's a lot there.
There'd be a lot. The payoff would be much richer because it would. I mean, you obviously wouldn't be able to tell things linearly if you did it that way. It would be a lot of bouncing in between. But I mean, you could easily do that in a way that you can't really tell what time that exactly goes down, and then it ties together at the end.
Right.
That'd be cool.
And like if you compare it to Game of Thrones, which Game of Thrones did a mostly good job of adapting the books when they had source material. And they took it to TV pretty well for those first 4 seasons where they had good source material for. And I think Harry Potter is a lot more linear and adaptable than Game of Thrones ever was. There's not as many point of views. There's not as many things going on. So I think it can be done. Excuse me. It can be done. And we've seen the blueprint for it now. And I agree that it's different than Lord of the Rings. I think a lot of people want a true adaptation because the last 3 or 4 movies were really missed the mark. They didn't hit the plot points that needed to be hit because they were making the movies before the books were out and didn't know what was important. And that was a problem.
Well, yeah, and I think I hate to say the advancement in CGI, but that would be a tremendous factor, and purely the budgets.
Yeah.
Think if HBO picked that up.
Well, I don't think they can. I think Peacock owns all the movies right now.
Okay.
But I think they're owned by the same one as HBO. Yeah, I think Warner. I think Warner owns it all, anyways. And it's all very confusing with who streams what and what goes where now. But I think if it happens, they'll definitely wait till Fantastic Beasts, the movies are over, before they try and do anything else. I think J.K. Rowling wants to finish that, which I hope they do, because I know no one else cares, but I'm still pretty interested to see what happens in the rest of the Fantastic Beasts movies. I don't think it's good that the last thing that we see is here's a new hidden Dumbledore, and we're just never going to cover that again. That would be really shitty if we never got back to that point and resolved that. So, like, I'm interested to see that, and I really want to see out of them how a Horcrux is actually made. That's one of the things that's always interested me, is, like, what is that actual process that goes into that? And I think we'll probably see Grindelwald try it at some point in those movies.
I'm there for it. I mean, I hold Harry Potter near and dear.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think most people's hesitancy with getting a new adaptation is the actors that were in the original were so perfect. It would be very hard to replace any of them and
they were all
hold them
shitty
up.
actors. The child actors are fucking awesome. Think like the Stranger Things kids. Those are actually good actors. Daniel Radcliffe would be a great James Potter.
Yeah.
And just have Ron be, fucking
Arthur.
Rupert Grint is just Ronald Weasley's dad. Arthur Weasley.
He could be Dumbledore. That was always the theory, is that Dumbledore is a time-traveling Ronald Weasley or some shit like that.
That's a dumb theory.
That was an early theory, yeah.
Calvin's like, fuck you, man. I wrote that shit.
No, I didn't write that. But yeah, I just think... I think those three, especially, have embodied who the Golden Trio is so well. Like, Emma Watson's fantastic, and I like Daniel Radcliffe in pretty much everything he's done. Rupert Grint hasn't done much else, but like those three are, if you look at them, they're Harry, Ron, and Hermione. And like the guys who played the twins were very good. All of the adults were very good. Gary Oldman is Sirius. Dumbledore's probably the exception. Richard Harris was really good, but then Michael Gambon wasn't as good. Maggie Smith as McGonagall was so good. David Thewlis as Lupin was so good. Peter Pettigrew as whoever plays Peter Pettigrew was perfect as Rat Guy. Ray Fiennes was great as Voldemort. Like those are the things that are going to be hard to replace. That people will have a hard time overlooking if the casting isn't perfect for the new ones.
I think they'd be able to do it, but yes, you make very good points.
And a lot of these actors just bring them back anyways, right? They're still out there
bring him
doing
back
things.
in some capacity.
Yeah. Or just like David Thewlis could still be Lupin. Like bring him in. Who cares?
Just do it like Power Rangers did. Have 40-year-olds playing 11, 12, 13, 14-year-olds. Fuck it.
Power Rangers were freshmen in high school.
They're like 40.
All right, you got any more thoughts on the Harry Potter movies?
I do not, man. This has been a pleasure.
Yeah, always great talking Harry Potter. This will be our last Harry Potter episode, unfortunately. We might get a little more Harry Potter talk in finale month if it comes up naturally in one of those conversations. But a lot of fun, as always, to talk Harry Potter. You can follow us on Twitter if you've got your own Harry Potter hot takes or want to tell us what you do or don't like about the movies. That's at APA something or at alone_podcast. We're always there listening. You can check out our merch at tpublic.com. Just search a podcast about something. As we said, this is our last Harry Potter episode because this show is coming to an end at the end of July. And I will be moving on to a new podcast about season 3 of various TV shows called The Magic Number is 3. And you can follow that on Twitter at Magic3TV Pod. And you can always listen to Nick on the You Are All Alone podcast. Do you want to give an update on that?
Yeah, check us out on alonepodcast.com.
There we go.
Or any podcast catcher out there.
All right. And thank you always to those cats for providing the music for a podcast about something.
And you guys stay sassy.
Stay classy.